In this video, I'm going to show you how I plan a passage. I'll demonstrate the apps and the websites I use to help me plan. If you'd like to see videos on sailing lifestyle, or follow our journey around the world, please subscribe now. Passage planning, let's talk about that today. We need to be back in Charleston, South Carolina in the United States on the 17th of August of this year, which is 3 weeks away, to put Sienna back into school. And it's 3 weeks away. It's 800 miles from where we are now in Bermuda, and it's in over 5 days of open sailing and open ocean. So it's something you mustn't take lightly. So I've been starting to look at different resources like Predict Wind and the website called windyty.com. Both of those I really like, and I'm looking at others. I'm also looking at the National Hurricane Center to make sure there's no hurricanes coming across the Atlantic, because that could cause us a big problem. And so I'm just looking at all those and finding a nice 5 to a week's window of opportunity to have a nice sail back to Charleston. This is Windy TY. Hamilton is over here, and where we're going is over here. Now this is on the wind setting, and blue is light wind, green is like 15 to 20 knots, and pink and purple is going up to about 40 knots. So we don't want the pinks and purples. What we want is green. So this is Saturday at midday, and we're going to be going across this way, so it's all nice and green. A bit close, it would be a bit close hauled, which means the wind's more closer to our nose. And then what I do is, you can actually play it, but I'm just going to move it on a little bit quicker. There is a little bit of orange, which is 15 to 18, but also what you can do is you can put a dot on it, and it says wind at 20 knots at 210 degrees. So I really like this, and it's coming all the way through. So we will be in there, so we might have to reef the sails up a bit, but it's still good wind. So we will probably, hopefully by Tuesday, we'll be along here somewhere. I might come in, be further south, because we need to go up to here, but it keeps on going, and it's really nice wind. And then Wednesday the 2nd, we're going to be up around about here, hopefully, and we can then just shoot up. So at the moment is really good. Also what you can do on here, I want the waves, and so this is 1.2 meters. You can put it in feet if you're happy with feet. So what we're not looking for is really dark blue or reds. Reds is just way too big. That's like 15 foot and 5 meter seas, and you don't want wanting that. So 1.2 meters, that's just over, that's about 3 feet.
And do you look at the waves every single day?
Yeah, I try to. Yeah, I look at that, especially with you, Kim. When you don't want to be too
seasick. That's why I'm asking.
Get seasick, and you can press play, and it shows you which way the waves are going. So they'll be going this way. When we first start, they're going to go that way. But you can look at it in different ways. See, there is slightly bigger seas. So we're going to be about here then. And it's 1.6 meters.
So I see you've pushed play. So you can push play, and you can watch the waves, and you can watch the wind, there's other things there available too. Yeah. But you mainly look at the waves and the wind.
The wind, yeah.
For Windy TY. Okay, cool. That's really helpful. So that's something you start looking at, like as soon as you know you want to go, you start getting an idea of where the wind is, what it's doing, what the wave sizes are, and so forth.
Yeah, so we don't want to leave on Monday, because then it's 6 feet seas. Yeah. So we don't want to leave that late.
And you'll have a very unhappy wife.
Yes, and don't want that. This is the US National Hurricane Center, NOAA, and at the moment it has no tropical cyclones in the next 48 hours. And what normally they start down here and come up and around, so we've got to keep an eye on that. So at the moment that's okay. We can also go to a 5-day one. Oh look, nothing for 5 days. If we had good wind, because we're here and we had good wind going over there, and there was something starting here, I would still go. because by the time it gets to here, we'll be in Charleston and hunker down if it comes up that way.
Right, but it's just one of the things that you start looking at every day.
Every day.
Well, I know just being here in Bermuda, we're on a rock in the middle of the Atlantic, so we look for hurricanes, like whether they're building or not, like all the time. So
all the time. Right, going to predict wind now. I really like this one.
Now this is an app rather than a website.
Yes, you can go to predictwind.com.
Okay.
But yeah, this is an app on our iPad.
And we pay for this.
Yes, we pay for this.
Yeah. So this is passage planning software, isn't it?
This is departure planning. You've got weather routing, forecasting, and like everything else with Windy TY, you've got all the different applications you can go. So what I've done here is the green one is where we start in Bermuda, and that's where we're going. I've set it for a certain date, which is Saturday the 29th.
And that's based on you looking at Windy TY.
Basically,
and
yes.
There's no hurricanes coming.
Yeah, no hurricanes coming. Windy TY. We have a friend coming in on the 27th. So you press done. And then up here is a green one, and it says calculate. So off it does its magic.
And you need an internet connection for this.
You need an internet connection with this.
So if you see any sailors in a bar with an iPad, this is generally what they're doing.
Yes.
Unless they're like Simon and sometimes playing Candy Crush.
I can't believe you said that about me. Okay, so what it is here, it has loads and loads of lines going across, red and blue. And these are all the different ones.
Models.
Different models. There's 4 different models. That's the European one. There's a German one. There's a French one. There's an American one.
And these are weather models.
Weather models, yeah, and they're all different.
So you got to pick which one that looks the best.
Yeah, well, you've got to take them all and make an educated guess between all of them.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, you can have your favourites. It's in a colour system again. Up here is strong winds in the orange, and that's up level with New York. Down here the blue winds is virtually no wind. Green is exactly the same. Orange is yellow is okay, but orange you don't want to go into. Green you want.
So we're looking for green.
We're looking at green. And the great thing about this one is that you can then press the play button, and what it does, I've set it for every 24 hours. This is the boat that comes 24 hours later. So that's Saturday, that's Sunday.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
That's Monday.
So it's telling you what kind of trip you're going to have.
Yeah.
24 hours after the day 1.
Yeah, you can set it for 6 hours, 12
Gotcha.
hours, 24 hours. The Sunday is a really fast day because they go faster. But look, if we pause it now, there's no wind on Thursday, Wednesday, Thursday. So Wednesday the wind starts to die. Mm-hmm. But if I get there with no engine sailing across there, that'll be fantastic.
If you get where?
All the way across from here to here. That's 4.5. I'm looking at 4.5 days at the moment.
Okay, so 4.5 days of wind and then a half day of motoring.
Yeah, motoring. Or we put a bigger sails up, depending on how we feel.
Okay.
What you do have to encounter is the Gulf Stream. Mm-hmm. Everyone goes on and on and on, especially in the States, about the Gulf Stream. You can get 4 knots of it shooting up there, and we're going to hit about 3.5, 4 knots.
No, I would think that this would have us come lower, knowing that the Gulf Stream's going to push it.
It doesn't go into Gulf Stream.
Okay.
Where another website that I look at does have the Gulf Stream.
Okay,
so
that's interesting.
Yeah,
okay.
But also you can look at, if you're more into tables, it's got here passage time. It gives you a time in days. They're great because you can say, yeah, I've got an X50 yacht, or I've got an Oyster 56, or I've got a Beneteau 44, I've got a Genoa 53, or whatever you've got. It gives you the passage and the speed of your boat.
Okay.
So it tells you here passage time in days. So that's 5.3.
If we leave on departure 1, which is 8 o'clock.
8 o'clock on Saturday.
Okay, but if we leave at 8 o'clock on Sunday,
it's 5.
It's going to take us less time or
less
more?
Time.
Okay, less time.
Yeah, it's going to take us about 6 hours less. Mm-hmm. If we go according to this one on the 31st of July, it'll take under 5 days.
Right, okay.
But then again, if you look at the two here, the two models on the same day, one says it's going to take 5.5 days, the other one's going to say it's going to take less than 5 days.
Okay, so when you're looking at the models, you have to maybe go in the middle?
Yeah, I take that with a pinch of salt, because in 5 days time your winds are going to change for the model.
Is there a particular model that you feel is more reliable than another? Do you have a favorite model that you keep an eye on?
Yeah, I like the PWG and the PWE, which is the first two. I quite like them.
Okay. I have said to you before that I think that you pick the one that looks the most favorable and say that's the weather, and then when it doesn't happen, you blame it on the model.
Yeah, it's happened to us quite a few times.
Yeah.
It's happened to us quite a few times.
Sometimes, I mean, do you feel it's information overload?
It can be. It can be. And what I found, a lot of people, they look at it and go, oh, there's a little bit of red there, and then I'm not going, and they don't go.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't. You've got to do it yourself.
I think. Do you think over time you can anticipate a little bit better?
Yes and no.
Yeah.
Because this is still. I'm talking. The end of this is still 11 days away.
Yeah.
Things can change so dramatically.
So
This is just a guide.
Yeah.
You can't say, I like 3 days. I think they give a good 3-day forecast. All of them. And they're generally pretty accurate up to 3 days. After that, it then becomes a little bit more of a lottery.
Yeah.
So, like I said, you got the passage time in days. Do you know what? I don't even really look at that. Yeah, it's a guide and whatever, great. But I'm more interested in what's down here. So you've got maximum speed, which they're saying is 18.6 knots. I always put 5 knots on everything they say. Absolutely everything they say. So if they're saying it's 18, I'm thinking it's going to be more like 25s. It's going to be potentially. Minimum wind speed 1.2, and then they do average, which is 10. Well, that's pretty good. I'm thinking averaging 10 knots over the 5 days is pretty good. Down here then it's got upwind, reaching and downwind. So I'm trying to get as much in the reaching and the downwind. So we've got 19% in upwind, reaching is nearly 80% and downwind is 2%, which is, you can't even really say. And then down here it has time in 8 knots and under, which is 40%, which is quite high, but you're going to get that. But then it's 8 to 20 knots is 63% of the time.
Now see, if I was reading that, I would think, whoa, our boat does not sail under 8 knots.
Well, no, it doesn't.
And that's 40% of the time we wouldn't be sailing. I'd be thinking, I want to wait a little bit, or... Yeah,
but I always say you always put 5 knots on what they say.
Okay, alright. And if you look at the amount of time spent reaching, and that will increase a bit. Yeah,
but you look in the last day, the last 24 hours, it's below it. It's going to be in the 8 knots. So 25. So you're thinking 20% of that time is on the last day. So really, we've only got like 15 to 17% when we should be doing well. Then
hold on, 15 to 17% we should be doing well.
Sorry, we won't be doing well. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, we won't be doing well. But we got 65%.
Yeah, is that good?
Yeah, I think that's pretty.
See, I don't know. This is why I think it's really helpful to talk to people about how you passage plan. Because me looking at it, I would be looking for closer to 80% of 8 to 20 knots.
If you can get that, that's great. Yeah. But I was thinking, if you look where the wind was going, we're going to be lots on the beam reach and lots of beam reach, which our boat loves.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking that's good. Okay, the waves, 70% of 3 feet and less, 1 metre.
Okay.
And 30% at 1 to 2 metres. Also, the other one's predicting 93% at 1 metre or below, or 7%.
I like that. I like low wave height.
Yeah. Or if you want to, sweetheart, we can go here and we can have 50 knots, 50% at below 8 knots, but 44% of the time at 2 metres at 5 to 6 feet.
No, low waves and wind.
Okay, but so Saturday's looking best at the moment.
Yeah.
But that could all change.
Yeah. Okay. And do you look at anything else? So this is like kind of step 4 in your planning process?
Yes.
And what is this?
This is the navigation.
So, and this is navionics, right?
Navionics, yeah, navionics. And you can see that this is Bermuda. This is the reef all around here, which is just incredible. So it's when we're sailing from a short distance, you know, it's going really close to all the different waypoints. But when we're out here, we're going to come out here, go down to the bottom of the island, around the bottom, and then it's a straight line at 800 miles to Charleston.
Okay.
So this one's easier because it's hard at the beginning, hard at the end.
What one's easier? This passage?
This passage, because it's a straight line west, and there's nothing we have to worry about. And
there's no like
no little islands, no reefs, obstructions.
Once we get out of Bermuda and once we get to Charleston, in between there's nothing.
Yes.
And
So
that makes it somewhat easier.
It makes it easier. So, you know, and I love this. It's so easy to do, and it can tell you, oh look, we're 766 miles from that point to that point. But then you've got routes. So I already have a route in here, or I should have a route in here. Oh, I seem to have deleted it. Okay, you can watch me put a route in. So this triangle bit here is our boat. So what we do is go route, manual. I don't like doing automatic. So there we go. That's our first point. Get into the channel. Get to the end of the channel.
So you just press and hold to create a waypoint.
Just press and hold to create a waypoint, and then we come out here.
And this is quite easy for you to do because we've come in.
Yeah, I already know where we need to go because we came in this way. So at the moment we're at 4.2 nautical miles, and it's going to take us 50 minutes.
And this needs to have GPS when you do this, or can you do it offline?
You can do it offline.
Oh, okay.
It's offline.
And this is an app.
This is an app.
And
yes.
Is this a paid-for app?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, you pay for the areas that you're in.
Okay.
And it's in conjunction with our one that we have
on our plotter.
And our plotter up here. So this is a backup system.
Yeah. So this is running independently of our boat plotter system.
Yes. Yes.
And the cool thing with this iPad is it has a GPS chip in it.
Yeah.
Not all iPads are sold with GPS. So this actually works without a SIM card.
Yeah.
Which is cool.
Yeah, it's an old one, so that's why it takes so long.
Yes, this is a very old iPad.
Okay, so this is the beginning of the channel coming into Charleston. So we go along, and then we're coming into here.
Now, of course, if you don't know the passage, haven't done it before, you need to really look with a fine-tooth comb that, you know, you're in a channel, or you're staying away from obstructions or shallows.
Yeah.
Or
generally what happens is, if it's white, it's really deep. So we're in the shipping channel, and the light blue is still deep, and the darker it gets, the darker blue it gets, the shallower it gets. And then obviously green
is land.
But is land that goes dry. It can be water.
Yeah.
But then it goes dry, and then yellow is land totally.
Yep, gotcha. Okay, so...
So we're coming up to where we are moored. So I will leave it at that. Okay, so this is 585.6 nautical miles. The speed that we put it in is 5 days exactly. And
what do you mean the speed we've put it in?
The speed we've put in our boat settings.
Okay.
I'll just click on boat settings.
You say that our normal speed is 6.5.
6.5.
Okay. And once you set this up, it asks you these questions.
Yes.
And then once that's set up, it figures these things out for you.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. It also tells you how much, how many liters of fuel you use.
Yes.
That would be our entire tank if we motored the whole way.
Yes. When you start, you press go, and what it does here, it tells you the speed that you're doing, how far it is to the first waypoint that you put in, which is 0.3 of a miles, and what distance you need to go, and this is the total.
But it gives you the heading that you need to
go
for each.
Yeah, and on this one, it'll once we start moving, it'll have like 10 days, 5 days, 3 days, depending how fast you're going and what, and it'll tell you the time that you're going to get into Charleston.
Right.
So then, after I've done it on there, I then go up into the boat and put it into the boat plotter. So we have 2 plotters, we have one downstairs and one upstairs. So if one disappears, one goes away, we've still got 2.
Right, and we've got the iPad too.
And we've got the iPad too.
Yeah.
Also, if the worst came to worst, I've got Sienna's iPad as well, and we've got certain paper charts when we get in.
Yep. And we've also, which I'll have to like get some clips of, we've got the predict wind system that works on the Iridium Go now.
Yes, which
so
we just got.
But that allows us to use our iPhone to connect with the Iridium Go to download GRIB files, so we can see where the wind is and head in the direction of the wind.
Which worked out brilliantly for us coming over. It worked out better than I expected.
Yeah. Oh, it's fantastic to get it so quickly. So we'll have to do a video on that just to show people how well that works. So when you're passage planning and all this, every day you're looking at those sites you mentioned.
Yep.
So Windy TY, you're looking at Predict Wind. You're not necessarily doing a passage plan. You do that once, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. And
unless the wind changes dramatically and I have to go so far north or so far south
to catch the wind,
to catch the wind, then
right.
I'll change it. I've just done it as a direct run line.
Right. Yep. And I've heard too, like different models work better for different areas of the world. Is that true?
Yeah, I've heard that. But I haven't sailed in enough areas to say that one works better. I think that the European one, which I'm not using at the moment, works better in the Europe because that's where they're mainly based.
Yeah. And is it a good suggestion to ask people locally what websites they use?
Yeah, I think so. And and I dare say if you got a one that you like, please tell me and I'll have a look at it, because I use Passage Weather as well, because that one is a good one because it shows you the Gulf Stream. So I know where the Gulf Stream is and how fast it's going to, because we're going to hit a 3.5 knot. It's going to push us north at 3.5 knots for about 20 to 30 miles.
Yeah, okay. All right, very interesting. So if anybody has any questions,
please ask.
Yeah, please ask. But we thought we'd give you just a little rundown of like how we plan, because we're getting ready to go. And every day Simon tells me, oh, we might leave on Saturday. Nope, it's going to be Thursday. Nope, it's going to be Sunday.
Well, hopefully it's not Thursday because he's going to land and we're going to go.
Yeah, our friend's coming in on Thursday, so hopefully he can see Bermuda before we go.
Yeah, it'd be nice to.
Visit our website now to collect your free resource checklist. 7 steps to passage planning. Click here now.
If you have any questions about passage planning, please put them in the comments below. A voyage of 800. If you'd like to see some videos on sailing lifestyle, stop laughing. If you'd like to see, I can't get this right.
If you're interested in buying a boat and haven't yet requested my free 37-page guide, How to Buy a Boat Without Getting Screwed, click here to download it now. When buying a boat, it truly is buyer beware. More often than not, I receive emails from extremely disappointed and disgruntled boat owners. In many cases, the boat buyer got ripped off, and in other cases, the buyer simply bought the wrong boat for what they wanted to achieve. Get this free guide and you'll have access to 10 steps to getting the right boat for the right price.